What's anti-white? You've probably seen this word turning up everywhere in conversation with coworkers and family, or friends on social media posts, as well as alternative and establishment media, and even some politicians. In a nutshell, anti-white is harming, creating the conditions for harm, and intentionally disregarding the well-being of white people while perceiving the victim or victims or potential victim or victims to be a Westman or Westmen. A Westman, by the way, is a white person, a member of Western kind. Littering in Western civilization is not anti-white if the litterer does not perceive that the victims of the act are white people, such as victimizing white people by way of sullying their environment. However, littering is anti-white if the litterer litters with the intent to sully a community created by white people, or the intentional disregard of a community created by white people. A person who drag races in a predominantly white neighborhood where there is an increased chance of harming a white person if something goes wrong, such as hitting a pedestrian or crashing into a house, is not anti-white if he did not consider the racial makeup of the neighborhood when deciding to drag race there. However, the drag racer is anti-white if he chooses a predominantly white neighborhood because, if something goes wrong, again, such as hitting a pedestrian or crashing into a house, the victims are more likely to be white people. Similarly, a government bureaucrat is anti-white if she targets predominantly white counties for the relocation of violent populations or the disposal of toxic waste. If something goes wrong, it's just white people who will get hurt. Some easier to understand examples of anti-white are white people being physically attacked while their attackers mention the white race of their victims. Diversity policies in academia and the workplace that must discriminate against whites to hire, promote, and enroll non-whites on the basis of race. Why, you ask? Must they discriminate against whites to accomplish diversity goals? Because there are a finite number of slots in a school, jobs at work, and promotions to distribute. Within the anti-white narrative in which we are forced to live our lives, white people are the only group that can be legally and morally discriminated against. Anti-white is a noun, as in, that anti-white wants to white guilt white children. It is an adjective, as in, anti-white morality leads to anti-white policies in government and private institutions. It can even be used as an adverb and a verb. For example, politicians always react anti-whitely to accusations that they don't do enough for non-white people. And, you're not going to anti-white at this Thanksgiving, or I'm not going to tolerate any anti-whiting because it's immoral. Anyone of any immutable characteristic can be anti-white. To be anti-white is a choice, and that choice is born out of the ideology of anti-whiteism. What is anti-whiteism? It is psychological warfare waged against Western kind. It has defeated all political, religious, philosophical, economic, and social opposition to it. That's how and why we are where we are today. So there's no use in looking to these old and defeated vehicles as the means by which we overcome anti-whiteism. It's also important to understand that no white person or family can escape being victimized by anti-whiteism, no matter how much they disavow their white heritage, no matter how anti-white they are. Because anti-whiteism attacks the fundamental biological, spiritual essence of the group to which they inescapably belong. No matter how completely a white person takes on a non-white culture, no matter how many non-white babies they have, they still house within them that biospiritual target of the anti-white attack. But there is a psychological defense for the psychological warfare that is waged against us. It has demonstrated proof of concept for over 2 decades. It provides you with powerful, inviolable concepts that are scientifically proven to undermine and overturn anti-whiteism, and it's called the Go Free Method. Why haven't you heard of the Go Free Method? Why is it the best kept secret to defeating anti-whiteism? Because the anti-whites know they can't defeat it. Like with any age whose time has come, the anti-white present wages war on the white well-being tomorrow of the future. But you have seen the changes that we and other champions are responsible for achieving in countries across the West. You've seen the words anti-white and anti-whiteism in the establishment media. You've seen them across social media. You've heard them in the mouths of politicians. And you have seen the predicted pushback from anti-whites in the forms of such words as anti-black and anti-Asian, which are on the rise. You've seen anti-whites denying that they are anti-white, a huge victory. And you have seen anti-whites try to revive the concept with which they defeated the West, racism, by trying to couple it with the word anti-white in the beastly phrase anti-white racism. You must never use the concept racism or tolerate it to be spoken in your presence. It is a black magic that can never be used against the dark, psychological warring wizards that summoned it. You may have seen other key concepts of ours in the establishment and social media, such as Western kind and white erasure, and many more, such as hate hoax and hush crime. You, like the sailor, can't be blamed for appreciating but not knowing from where the breeze blows that lifts the sails. But regular people, ordinary though extraordinary everyday folks, are behind the white magic that raises and summons these winds. The Go Free Method is legal in all Western countries. It's supremely moral, and more importantly, we are recapturing our destiny with it. Won't you empower yourself with this proven method? Won't you reclaim your life and redeem your loved ones and friends? Won't you be the hero in our story?